Are you looking for a new game? Do you like card games and RPGs? Check out my review of Deep Sky Derelicts coming up next on Mumbles. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Mumbles. In today's episode of Mumbles, we're reviewing a game called Deep Sky Derelicts. Now, before we get into anything about this game, I do have to ask you guys all a huge favor. If you haven't already, please do subscribe to the channel, ring the little notification bell, and drop a like on the video. Guys, it helps the channel grow. I know I've said this so many times, but I want the channel to continue to keep growing, and I want to keep getting bigger and stuff. And it just really helps out the channel if you do those things. So thank you guys so much. Thank you for the support. Thank you for all the kind comments you give me on a daily basis. And yeah, now let's get into this game reviewing. So guys, today we are reviewing a game called Deep Sky Derelicts. Now, I have to be 100% honest and upfront with you guys. I gave Deep Sky Derelicts a 6 out of 10 on our Mumbles score. I have a good reason for doing that, but before I get into that, I have to give you guys all the information I can about this game. So let's first start off with the systems that this game is available on. I am reviewing this game on the PlayStation 4. However, it is also available on Xbox One, Steam, and the Nintendo Switch. This game has a really long description, so I kind of summarized it for you guys to give you guys a brief overview of what this game is about. In this game, you are an outcast who lives off of scraps found in derelict ships. So you go to derelict ships, you find scraps, and you sell them. One day, you're offered the chance to become a citizen of the Empire, which means you won't have to work anymore and you'll be able to basically live a life of luxury. The only catch is, you have to find the ancient mothership. Can you do it? This leads you on an adventure jumping from derelict ship to derelict ship in order to find out where the mothership is. That's the basic idea behind this game, guys. Really, this game is a dungeon crawler. It has turn-based combat that uses cards to attack, and that's the basic idea in a nutshell, guys. Is it good, though? Let's find out. First off, we're going to start about the graphics, sound deck, and the controls. First off, with the graphics, guys, this has a comic book style graphics, and it's beautiful. A lot of game companies don't seem to realize that if you create something that looks good and looks beautiful, that you will draw a lot of people, whether or not your game is good or bad. And Deep Sky Derelicts nailed that idea. The graphics in this game are so good. I really love them. They're very pretty. They're very different from other things we have seen. Soundtrack-wise, this game pretty much has gaming elevator music. There's nothing really exciting here about the soundtrack. Guys, control-wise, the controls in this game work pretty good on the PlayStation 4. However, they can be a bit confusing when you first start, and there is a learning curve to them. Just the way that things are set up, it makes it a little bit confusing. So guys, now let's talk about the gameplay. The gameplay in Deep Sky Derelicts is a bit complicated. It's basically a dungeon crawler that has RPG elements, and those elements mainly manifest themselves in the combat system of this game. How does that work? Guys, in this game, you have, first off, classes. You have a team of 3 people, and you have to pick different classes for each of the people. Now, obviously, that determines what kind of equipment you can use. Now, based on the equipment that you have, your character will be given certain cards. Now, these cards are the moves that you can use in combat. As you upgrade your equipment, you'll get better cards. As you mod your equipment, you'll get better cards. These cards are more or less effective based on the stats that you give your characters. So, for example, if you have a medic, you can choose right as you hit level 2 to actually have them heal themselves each turn. This is something that is determined by your stat choice. Now, beyond that, the combat system in this game is very much a card mechanic type gameplay system. When it comes to cards and moves, most cards are determined by your weapons, equipment, and mods. And depending on what you attach, things will change up differently. So guys, that's pretty much the combat system. It's very much exactly what you're seeing on the screen. Once you determine the equipment that you want to use, you're given cards when you enter a combat situation, and you have to defeat your enemies using those cards. Now, these cards can have different moves and different effects and things that they do, but that's the main idea, and that's all I'm here to give you is the main idea of this game. Now guys, we talked about the combat system. I want to talk about how you actually move around in this game because it's very different from most games out there. Basically, when you enter a dungeon in this game, you're given a grid and you have to move your character along. As you move your character along, they will run out of energy. Now, this energy can also tie into combat because there are certain moves that need a certain amount of energy to perform. But basically, it makes you stress not using up all your energy. If you're running around in a dungeon and you run out of energy, then you're basically helpless. You can't use any weapons. You will die. So this game is very much tied into the energy, and I don't know how much I particularly like this system, but it is very different and it deserves to be mentioned. So guys, that's basically everything you need to know about the gameplay of this game. Now I'm going to tell you guys the main cons that I have for this game. The first con that I have is glitches. Guys, I played this again on the PlayStation 4 version, and I encountered 2 glitches, and I'm sure there's more that haven't been found, but I did find 2. The first one was, I encountered a glitch when you're loading that you can freeze, and you can't do anything. I also encountered a glitch when you go to a load screen and actually go to load up another save, that it will basically freeze you there, and you won't be able to do anything or select the next part to load up your save. So I'm sure there's more glitches, so I'm listing this as a major con for this game. So the second con that I have is story. I know that Deep Skies was aiming for a cold story because it wants to tell the life and adventure. But guys, just moving from one area to the next with the promise or hope that, oh, I'm going to get to move to this amazing society and no real story in between, it didn't do that much for me, and that's why I'm listing it as a con. The third con that I have for this game is the menu control. Guys, the menu is a mess. It's a hot freaking mess. Like, I mean, it's hard to find things. It's hard to know what you can equip to each character. There's very little guidance in the menu, and it's just a mess. Especially when you get into a dungeon, it's a mess going through the menus, as you can see in the video here. The final con that I have for this game is the lack of explanation. The tutorial in this game is laughable at best. Nothing is really explained, and it throws you into picking characters right off the bat and doesn't tell you what the difference is. So you're kind of just assuming things that you don't know the answer to. I don't like that in a game. That's why I gave this game a 6 out of 10. And I'm mainly basing this on the fact of those cons. Guys, when I get into a game, if I don't know what I'm doing, it's really hard to stay engaged. I die. I don't know why I died. I start the game over. I die. I put it away and I never play it again. That's what I'm afraid is going to happen with this game because of the lack of tutorial and the lack of knowledge that is given in this game. It doesn't explain itself very good, and I'm not one that usually likes having to play a game for 5 hours in order to figure out, oh, I did this wrong, I did this wrong, I did this wrong. Or having to read up on a game for 5 hours to figure out, oh, I need to do this and do this and do this. That's not fun to me. Deep Sky Derelicts has a lot of that. So that's why on today's Mumbles review, I'm giving this game a 6 out of 10. If it had more explanation in it, I could easily see giving this game a 7, but in its current state, I cannot do that. 6 out of 10. Anyways, guys, this has been another episode of Mumbles. I want to thank you guys all so much for joining me. Please smack that subscribe button, smack the like button, smack all those buttons. And I'll see you guys all in the next video. Bye-bye, everyone. Take care.